The game is basically a 10 out of 10. It's an absolute masterpiece, guys. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for watching. Red Dead Redemption 2 is an amazing Western game written and created by Rockstar Games, the creator of GTA 5, who by now everybody's definitely familiar with at this point. It has sold bizarre copies, like hundreds of millions of copies I think is what it hit there in the past couple of days. But Red Dead Redemption 2 has recently hit 18 million, which is 10 more million than Red Dead Redemption 1 hit in 8 years since its launch. It is the most detailed and best written game by Rockstar to date, hands down. There are loads of locations to go to, strangers to talk to, and animals to go after and hunt. There is so much in this game, and it is really, really hard to think where to start talking about it, but I'd say the best part to start talking about is from the very start. The game is set in 1899, and you follow the Vanderlyn gang just after they did a very terrible heist in Blackwater, and the whole thing went to shit, basically. It is a prequel to Red Dead Redemption 1, which, if you remember, you follow John Marston in this, but this time you're a different guy called Arthur Morgan. It shows how the end of Outlaws in the Wild West is coming to an end, and how everyone now is basically living in this small mountainous area called Coulter with like rundown shacks and everything, as they're outrunning the Pinkerton detective agency that is right on their heels, basically. You become Arthur and you saddle up for roughly around 60 hours of story and gameplay. The intro has such an impact at the start, how beautiful the snow is, how you can hear crunch beneath your feet, the deformation of the snow and how it stays like dampened down and stuff is just really cool. It has such an impact on you though, as the whole world becomes available. You're just blown away by how beautiful the world is and how much more lively and colourful it is compared to its predecessor, which released in 2010, Red Dead Redemption 1. You see the tough, cold mountain areas, terrifying alligator-infested swamps, thick terrain and forests to go through, massive plains and open areas, quiet ranches where you see the ranch hands working and different people like that, and then massive, huge plantation houses like in the movie Django Unchained. There's small streams which lead to massive bodies of water which you can go fishing in for legendary fish or just small sea bass or whatever. There's massive deserts to explore down in Armadillo in the first map. There's cave systems, and definitely let's not forget about Valentine, the classic western town, which is really old now. They're trying to build it up, and then the hustle and bustle of the very modernised Saint Denis, which is out near the swamps area, where it's very modern with electric trams going around and just like lights and electricity and everything around there. The habitats of animals and the areas and environments are stitched together so beautifully in this game. It is just really incredible. After so many hours, and the game surprisingly stays so fresh to me somehow. You run into more unique scenarios and strangers and people to meet. It's not how beautiful and diverse this map is, it is just how alive and really realistic everything feels when you're playing it. The areas in like Saint Denis and stuff, you see everybody going around just trying to sell stuff on the street. You see the trams going around, everyone getting on to them to go around the town faster. But the areas in Red Dead are full of wildlife to fill your compendium with in the progression screen. Strangers to meet along the way and stranger missions. There's a lot of strange encounters again, like in the first game, where you like see a damsel in distress, or you see a guy trying to get mauled by a bunch of bears and you have to go over and save him and stuff like that. And then there's a lot of places you can go and buy stuff or loot items to sell to the fence, or to sell pelts and stuff to the butcher, if you know what I mean. It is amazing how realistic the game is and how fresh it feels. You have to manually loot people. You have to like cock your gun and bullets in between every shot you take. I know a lot of people would like. You also have to find like meat after you kill an animal, and then you have to like manually cook the meat and brew the coffee for yourself before you can even consume it. Some people find the stuff boring, which I do know, but I feel it helps immerse yourself into the game, so you feel like you are a part of this world and that you are actually Arthur Morgan. Rockstar didn't really need to add this stuff and this little details to the game, but they did so definitely to immerse people into the game, so you feel a lot more like Arthur. The story is written so well, probably the best I've ever played, probably one of the best games I've ever played, hands down. There's a wide range of heists and shootouts, horse chases and rescues, thrown in with more tasks like collectibles to find, different weapons to find, stranger missions, encounters, legendary animals, and little things like challenges and gambling on the side to do. It still feels like Red Dead 1, but so much better to me, like the sounds, the gameplay and everything like that. Shootouts are so cool and cinematic in this game, with the effects of gunshots echoing outside in the mountainous areas or whatever, to like really sound like crisp gunshots indoors where it's a really loud bang. You can see the gun smoke rising from the gun each time you shoot and like it impacting on the wall or whatever. You also have that classic Hollywood like twang, like ping sound of the ricochet of the bullet hitting a hard surface. You can also see like the blood flying off your enemy into the air, or like if you go over and you pick up an animal after you've killed it or a human and you put it on your shoulder, you can see the blood smeared all over Arthur. Or if you like get into a brawl or a bar fight inside Valentine, you get thrown out the window and land in the mud. You can see the blood and the mud accumulating all over Arthur, and you have to go into a bathhouse or whatever and actually wash yourself so he looks better and stuff like that, which I find very cool. Also, let's definitely not forget the beautiful hair in this game is unbelievable. Like the mustache you just seen there on the screen, which it blows in the wind and everything. It's the small details of this which make this game very fascinating. And definitely, let's not forget about the best detail in the game, the horse testicles. Best thing in modern gaming by far. It's definitely the horse testicles in this game. Music in this game is definitely outstanding. Whoever composed it is absolutely amazing. As the music changes to fit in and change the mood of the game, say if you got into a fight, the music would instantly change to like dramatic music or whatever. This is definitely Rockstar's best realistic game so far, and best written from watching Dutch be a clever and charismatic silver-tongued person at the start, like luring people in and thinking that he's a really good guy, to his slow decline into a broken old man, how John Marston finds him in Red Dead 1 12 years later in 1911. Let's also talk about the character who we play as, Arthur Morgan. It's really enjoyable to see him slowly make his own decisions for himself and see how Dutch is slowly declining. A man who he held so highly for years above everyone else and thought he was such a great man. The writing keeps this game sincere and funny while also like keeping the emotion and keeping you emotionally attached to the characters in the game, and actually making you feel like you're in this world, which is just absolutely amazing. Like to like the epilogue at the end. I've completed this game like very quickly, to be honest, but I still have over 3 days of gameplay, and I'm still finding like new stuff to do and new things to find to 100% the game. This game is definitely probably my favorite to date, like since the Xbox One's come out. I'm now on my second run through of the game and trying to go for the 100% overall. Overall, this game is definitely shoulder to shoulder with GTA for being the best game in this decade. It is a beautiful story of such an ugly era back in history. It is so fun to play, and combined with the best story to date, even after the story, I'm still finding collectibles to get, legendary animals to kill, and killing different gangs around the place. That will be it for my Red Dead 2 review, guys. If you're new here, consider subscribing. Hope you enjoyed the video. Next I'll be towards the end of the year, no, not the end of the year, sorry, the end of the month. I'll definitely be doing videos on Red Dead Online, as that's coming out at the end of this month. But I'll also be uploading more of the funny clips from my Red Dead gameplay and stuff like that. And I hope to catch you in the next one, guys. Peace!